Blog Talk Radio.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Women of Golf Show. I'm Ted Odorico, and right alongside, of course, each and every week is none other than Legends Tour player and LPGA professional Cindy Miller, and we are the hosts of the Women of Golf Show. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are things up in Buffalo?
We got a winter storm warning here.
Uh-oh.
So
that doesn't sound good.
A little chilly. Yeah. So 10 to 20 inches, they say.
Wow. Yeah, that's not good. Well, we'll get a little bit more of the weather update as we go along, but stay warm, Cindy. Let me just remind everybody, of course, we are live. Got a great show for you this morning. We are live every Tuesday morning, unless otherwise stated, here in the blogtalkradio.com network, and you can find us from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern. Best way to go to get in contact with the show is to go to blogtalkradio.com/Women of Golf, or just type Women of Golf up in the search key, and that will take you there to the main page during our live broadcast. And for some reason, if you can't join us live, not to worry, just scroll down that page to the on-demand section, and all of the shows, of course, are auto-recorded. So if you can't join us during the live segment, you can scroll down there to the on-demand section and check out the shows that you may have missed in their entirety there in that section. Some other great ways to tune into the show as well. Go to iTunes.com, Stitcher.com, TuneIn.com, and TalkStreamLive.com. And again, just type in Women of Golf, and that will take you to the respective page there, and you can listen when it's convenient for you. Some other great ways to reach out to the program. You can call in during the live broadcast on Tuesdays from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern. The number to call is area code 347-945-5855. You can certainly contact Cindy or I personally if you're maybe got some comments about the show, or maybe you've got some questions for either of us. You can do so. Cindy's email is cindy@cindymillergolf.com, and mine is ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And just for those of you, some of you maybe tuning into the show may already know this, but we just launched here just a few days ago our Women of Golf Facebook page. And I see a bunch of you have already gone out there and liked the page already. So go to facebook.com/Women of Golf, and that's our Facebook page. And we hope that you'll visit. And we're going to be keeping updated with upcoming guests and things like that, and lots of other great things about the show as well. So visit the page, let us know what you think, and make sure that you throw a like our way when you're there. And if you get any questions or comments, you're welcome to post them up there on the Facebook page as well. So again, facebook.com/Women of Golf. We hope you take time to visit today. We got a great guest this morning. Going to start things off, and then Cindy and I, we took a little break, obviously, for Thanksgiving, and the week before that, we were going to get into some golf tips discussion, but we didn't have time to do that. So we'll try to do a little bit of that here after the first segment, which, of course, we're going to have our special guest, Brendan Sweeney. He's the Director of Golf Media Relations and Player Development at French Lick Resort. He's joining us here in just a moment. Let me tell you a little bit about him, and then Cindy will bring him on the show. Brendan has been around golf since the age of 11, where he started as a caddy at Medina Country Club just outside of Chicago. He also had the pleasure of caddying through high school and college. The pinnacle of that experience was caddying in the 1983 Western Open. Medina also gave the opportunity to work at the 1988 Senior U.S. Open and the 1990 U.S. Open. And in the early 90s, he worked in the film and television industry in Chicago. In 96, he relocated to Orlando, Florida, where he worked at the Universal Studios, handling video production, sales, and marketing, where he developed several business relationships with the Golf Channel, PGA of America, the PGA Tour, LPGA, and USGA. So, Cindy, let's welcome our very special guest this morning, Brendan Sweeney.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing today?
very well.
Can you hear me all right?
We're doing, yeah, we can hear you just perfect. We're doing great. Welcome back, Brendan. We're glad to have you come back on the show again this morning.
Well, thank you very much. It's a cold, blissful day in Orlando, Florida, where the temperatures just plummeted to 55 degrees.
Yeah. We're going to rub it into Cindy. I'm in Northwest Florida. It's a little bit cooler here, but it's a little bit better off than where Cindy is up in Buffalo right now. She's getting ready to batten down the hatches, if you will, for a winter blast. So keep your fingers crossed and her and your thoughts and prayers that everything goes well. I know Buffalo's used to it. Cindy, I'm going to start things off, Brendan, with you just a little bit. We'll sort of catch up a little bit with what's happening at French Lick. And one of the things that caught my eye is you guys had some great tournaments throughout the 2018 season, starting off in July with the second annual Donald Ross Classic. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll move on to some of the other ones. You can tell us a little bit about those tournaments, how they came about, and what some interesting things that happened at the tournament.
Well, we had a really great season. We have a great staff with Dave Harner and Andy Fortner and Rob Kuntz and the whole professional staff up at French Lick. We had at our Donald Ross golf course, which we celebrated our 100-year anniversary last year. We hosted the Symetra Tour Donald Ross Classic. Had a great field of up-and-coming ladies, and it was very successful, followed by that with the second edition of the Senior LPGA Championship, which was on Golf Channel for 3 days in October. Had Dame Laura Davies win her Senior Slam after winning the Senior Women's U.S. Open in Chicago, at Chicago Golf Club in Wheaton, Illinois. Everything is going great. We're looking forward to next year, and we're booking business already. And I tell you what, the real winner of this season and the seasons prior are the kids at the Riley's Hospital for Children, where we've made our dedicated charity. And I know Cindy has seen the kids grow up over the years, and it really is special. It was our sixth championship. We had four prior to that with the Legends Tour, and Riley was always our sponsor. So you start seeing these children, who were 10 years old, now they're 16, thank God. And they grow up, and we can see really the power of golf and how it's helped out kids. So that's our main focus. We have a great facility, we have a great golf course, we have great people, but the greatness behind it all is the results that we can supply towards the people that really need it, and that's through the children of Riley's Hospital for Children.
Yeah, what a great cause. Fantastic. You guys have had some very interesting tournaments. You mentioned the Legends Tour, of course. And also back, I believe, in 2015, you hosted, was it a senior PGA event or was it a PGA event that I believe it was Colin Montgomery that won that?
Yeah, that was the senior PGA championship presented by KitchenAid. Colin Montgomery won it. It was actually, when we talk about French Lick, you talk about the community and you talk about the spirit behind the community. Back in 1996, the Cook Group out of Bloomington, Indiana, decided to make an effort to put some life down in southern Indiana, and French Lick was a perfect place for it. So they've dedicated over $600 million to the renovation of the resort. And one of the tools that we have behind that is the tool of golf. So in 2009, we opened up the Pete Dye Golf Course, and in 2010, we hosted a professional club, the National Club Pro Championship with the PGA of America, and that was sort of our coming out party. And since then, we've hosted USGA events. We had 6 Big Ten championships. And in 2015, we were given our fourth major that was held at the resort. We had the 24 PGA Championship with Walter Hagen won it, 59-60 LPGA Championships, and then if you look at the Club Pro Championship, that's a major in the Club Pro eyes, and then the Senior LPGA. So that was our fifth. Yeah, it's great. It's a great place. It's centrally located. 3 hours from just about anywhere in the Midwest. And golf is a great tool to do it. And we have 2 beautiful hotels and a nice little casino to anchor everything down.
Yeah, it's a beautiful location. I was on just recently looking at some of the video that you have on your website about some up-and-coming things. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Cindy, I know you've been to French Lick a number of times, and you've had some great experiences there. Obviously enjoying as an LPGA member. Tell us a little bit about your experience and what you really like about French Lick.
I love the fact that it's a hidden gem in the middle of basically nowhere, and you pull up to the West Baden Hotel, and you go, well, where did this come from? And then you walk in, and you look up, and it's a huge Coliseum, and you cannot believe how beautiful it is. You feel like you're in Rome. And it's just, the whole place is just beautiful. The French Le Casino Hotel is a gorgeous one as well. But I think what makes it really amazing is the people. I cannot compliment all you guys, Dave, Joe, I don't know how to say his last name, Vazzoso, and Mr.
You're from Buffalo. You can speak Italian.
I can speak Italian. I'm very good at it, by the way. I'm good at the swear words. But I just got to tell you, it's just Mr. Ferguson, Connie Ferguson, Joe, Dave, you, Andy, everybody's so professional and so nice. It's Midwestern charm. Nobody thinks they're cool. They bend over backwards. I can't say enough about it, other than the golf course. And to be honest with you, the funny thing is I got in this year. I was first alternate, and I got in there all week and never got in. But I played 2 of the 3 days. The weather was terrible, and I played better when it was terrible. So I probably should go try hitting balls today in this winter storm. But the golf course kicks my butt every year. I must say that I did bring number 17 or 16 to its knees this year, and I think Alan and I might have been on the Golf Channel with his pretty little hat that he bought because it was so cold out. But anyway, all I could say is it's beautiful. That's why I wanted Brendan to come back on. We did do a golf school before the tournament started, and everybody had a great time. We were down at the Valley Links, which no one even talks about the Valley Links, but what a great little gem that is, with the practice facility and chipping and pitching, and we're going to do a golf school next year before the tournament. When is the tournament, by the way?
It's going to be the same time. The Symetra Tour event, the Donald Ross Classic, to be in the third week of July, and then the Senior LPGA Championship will be October 9th through the 16th. So we have
Perfect.
2 Pro-Ams.
I love it. Make it snow.
Absolutely. Well, it's cool. You mentioned the Valley Links golf course, but you look at the history of French Lick, and it was originally built in 1845. It was a trading post, and then in the Civil War, the hotel became a military hospital, and then it kept on expanding. And then the French Lick Hotel back in 1898, 1899 caught on fire, burnt down, and was rebuilt in 1901. And at the same time, about half mile away, where you mentioned the West Baden Springs Hotel, there was another building that was going up, and that was the West Baden Hotel. It was built in 277 days, and from 1901 to 1969 or 1963, it was the world's largest freestanding dome until they built the Astrodome. So there's a full acre on the inside of this atrium, and all the rooms, half the rooms face in, half the rooms face out. But it really is a cool, special place, especially now during the holiday season. We have a 75-foot tree that goes up, and there's people in and out of it all day long, and it really is. It's sort of like It's a Wonderful Life type place, or you could place it in the middle of a Hallmark movie right now, which is on nonstop in my house, going on in this season. So it's all good. It's all good, and we're looking forward to next week and everything else. So.
Now, what do you do? Do you have packages that people can, do a weekend package and stay in the hotel and play golf? And do they play both courses? What's the scoop if somebody wants to go there?
Oh, cool. Well, yeah, to answer your question, we have, we started off doing, at one point, Cindy, we probably had, 9 or 10 different packages. And it's like, hey, you want the Hall of Fame package? You want this package, that spa package, or whatever? And we sort of simplified it for stay and play. Basically, if you want to come down and play golf, play the Ross, play the Die, stay for a night, you can get in for, $500 around there, $500-600 a head, which is a great little getaway. I mean, if you do a la carte, the Die course is $350. The hotel rooms are about $175, and the Roscoe's for about $1.25. So the package is the way to go. And if you're going to make the destination, you might as well stay a couple days, explore the area. We have obviously the Dye course, which is our gem. The Ross course is absolutely fabulous. It was the host site of the 1924 PGA Championship, and we totally gutted it back in 2005. So it's back to its original plans and specs. It's a wonderful golf course. And then you mentioned the Valley Links, which is the 1901 Tom Bendelow golf course, which we knocked out the front nine and put the parking garage, the event center, and the casino on. So we now have a 3,600-yard executive course with a dual range and 4 chipping greens that you had your seminars on, which is a great little, just go out and have some fun, kicking around a little bit. And if you're a parent with a kid, kids play free with a paying adult. And if the kids don't want to play golf, we introduced foot golf a few years back, and now we're charging like $20 to play foot golf. And also, we look at the revenue from the golf compared to foot golf, and it's getting up there pretty quick. So it's a win-win for the family, and we have bicycles, horseback riding. If you're an avid mountain biker, we have some great trails out there, and we introduced last year a little shooting range, so for sporting clays. So if you got a group of people, give us a heads up. We can set it up for you. And it really is a cool destination. We're about 3 hours from everywhere. I mean, from Nashville, Tennessee, from Indianapolis, St. Louis, Cincinnati, we're 5 hours from Chicago. From the north end of Atlanta, we're 6 hours. Charleston, West Virginia is 5 hours away. So, yeah, we're just about a tank full from happiness.
Wow.
I like that.
Fantastic.
That was a good sound. My first radio interview. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, you're doing fantastic, Brendan. One of the things that I wanted to ask you about, you talked a little bit about some of the tournaments and that. Obviously, there's a lot of work and preparation for these events. What goes in, just for those that maybe aren't familiar with what kind of goes on behind the scenes in preparation for some of these big events, like the Senior LPGA Championship as an example? What goes into preparation for these events, and how long does it normally take prior to the event for everything to sort of get in place?
If you look at the area, Tom, the Valley, as we call it, which is the town of West Baden and French Lick, we have 2,500 people that live in the Valley, give or take. When we started the renovation of the hotel, we had 373 employees at the resort. Now we employ close to 1,700 people. So you take that number,
wow,
and then you look at each one of these events, and the number one thing that we try to do is make our guests and the players feel like they're at home, and we can't do that without the volunteers. So you look at, Larry Kidwell is our volunteer coordinator, and he's been doing it forever. He's got a strong relationship with the people in the community, and if he says, hey, we need some help, we got it. So we have close to 300 volunteers per championship that we're doing. And you add that up over the years, and there's, thousands of people that have donated their time and efforts to make it going. So with the volunteers being number one, then number two, from a tournament point of view, your course setup, we have probably two of the best setup guys out there with Russ Apple and Brent Fleck, our superintendents at the golf courses. And if you look at the Pete Dye course or the Donald Ross course, they're in awesome shape all the time. So now you have the volunteers, you have a quality track, and then you have to start generating some money to make this thing all work. And we do that through pro-ams. We have a great pro-am for the Smetch Tour event, and then I have a little media shootout that you should come out to in July. The Sweeney Cup. So I got about 30 guys come out and play in the Pro-Am, and we have a little side competition going on. And then the Pro-Ams that we have for the Senior LPGA Championship, which are Friday and Saturday prior to the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday Championship, we'll have close to 300 players playing in the event, and that generates a lot of money for the charity. It offsets a lot of costs. And we have a great silent auction. So it's a year-round event. We just got back from going to the tournament directors meetings down in Naples at the CME Championship at the LPGA, And you look at companies like IMG, Octagon, Langelier, Bruno, that is their job. They put on championships. They go in, it's a turnkey solution. When we worked at PGA of America, they had a setup team that came in 2 years in advance. And we've been doing all the heavy lifting on our own. So we definitely have some experience, under the eyes of Joe Bezzoso and Dave Harner of really putting on a great event. And it takes a lot of effort, and it takes, not only are you focusing on the tournament, right? We have to focus on 45 holes of golf. We have to focus on, 682 rooms. We have to focus on events coming in and out. So we have our day-to-day operations that we're doing, as well as putting on these championships. So, we try to keep the expenses down low and the experience very high.
Well, you guys have done a fantastic job, because I know that Cindy has bragged about French Lick for the last several years, just about how wonderful of an organization it is and a facility that it is, and how well run the tournaments are. So obviously, you guys have done a fantastic job, and kudos to everyone on the staff and all of the volunteers. And I got to tell you, Cindy's talked about those golf courses, and they sound pretty tough. And I got to be honest, I'm a little scared. I don't know if I could come up there and handle some of those hills, especially on the Pete Dye course. So I'll have to practice up my game a little bit. Yeah.
I tell you, the great thing about the Pete Dye golf course is, Tom, if the way that Pete and Alice Dye designed the golf course, and Cindy, you can attest to this. We always tend to brag about it. It's one of the longest golf courses in America, if not the world, stretching back to 8102 from the tips. So you're looking at, you said you took the 16th hole down to his knees, but from the back of that, it's 301 from the back tee box.
I can't reach it from there. Alan turned around and he goes, turn around and look back there. How'd you like to hit it from there? I go, there's no way.
Yeah,
I got to tell you, I'm going to try to talk my kid into coming to caddy for me next year. I got to let him play this golf course, because he just won the New York State Men's Mid-Am, and he's about a +4, and this place is going to beat him up.
Well, but it really is. If you look at the way they designed the golf course, and if you look at the senior ladies playing, and if you're hitting a drive, 220, 215, up to, I think Laura Davies was smacking about 270, but that's not really par for the course. But if you're looking at from the forward tee boxes, we could play it at 5,300 yards. The senior or the senior PGA guys, they played at right around 65-ish, give or take. We had the USGA Men's State Team Championships. They played at probably around 69. The Club Pro guys probably played at around 69. And the Craig Bowden, who has the course record at 1 under from 8102, is a PGA Tour professional. So, and he's a short hitter. So, yeah, the course is built for placement of your shot, and visually, from where you're looking, you just have to take that out of consideration and pick your spot. And it really is. If you hit it straight, you hit it good, you're doing fine, and the course is right in front of you. But it visually, from those different angles out there, Pete really designed a really spectacular track.
Definitely.
Brendan, let me just. Sorry, go ahead, Cindy.
Nothing. I was giving a little lippy remark. You play with clenched butt cheeks at this point.
Yeah.
Well, and then,
basically,
during the weather, your butt cheeks were kind of clenched.
Let me ask you, Brendan, just to follow up, and I guess you pretty much answered this, but obviously the course is not really, we see out in the PGA Tour, particularly, some of these long hitters out there. A long hitter is not necessarily going to have a big advantage playing, especially on the Pete Dye course. Do I understand you correctly?
Well, from 8102, yeah, you're going to have to need some length. But I tell you what, this golf course, Tom, is located on the second highest point in the state of Indiana. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but you're 980 982 feet above sea level, and you're about 450 feet above the town. So when you get winds blowing in, Pete says, hey, these winds start in Kansas, and this is the first place they hit. And that Monday, Tuesday of the event that we had of the Senior LPGA edition this year, overnight, the hurricane hit down south in Florida, and this front came through, and it created like a vortex, and the temperature dropped, and the wind picked up, and it was probably blowing 25, 30 miles an hour for 2 days straight. And you add that on top of a very strategic golf course, and take advantage. The 16th hole, as you mentioned, is a par 3. It was probably playing about $125, water on the right, but you're looking into about a 25-mile wind dead in your face with no trees or nothing around you. So it peels your skin back when you're up on top of these plateaus. So yeah, if you want to be a long ball hitter, and it catches a wind gust, that thing can go any direction, any time. And it basically your ball spinning. Look at the first hole. If you hit that thing a little bit right, it could wind up in the third fairway, or you hit a little bit left, it could wind up in the water. So it really is, on a nice calm day, you could really get some good scores out there. I think Sherry Steinhauser has a record in competitive rounds for ladies. I think she shot a 63. That sound about right?
Wow.
They're in the Ladies Championship, and I think one of the Donna 65. She had a 65. And then Amakapani she had a 66. So, yeah, there's some solid shooting out there. And I tell you what, the ladies played great this year. We're trying to get a few more events leading up to the Senior LPGA Championship. So, we're, hopefully some of the ladies can get some more playing time in competitive rounds. That was brought up in a couple meetings. And we're trying to figure out a way to make senior women's golf more the mainstream and trying to get the ladies from the LPGA somewhere else to play after their younger years have passed them.
So let me ask you that question. What do you believe? So I went to the meeting at French Lick. We had a players meeting. And my big beef was, we need to figure out what our value is and what we offer people. Because to be honest with you, most people, young people, have no idea who Nancy Lopez is or Laura Davies, and they may not care. I believe we need to give value to our fans, customers, the local people, and until we figure out what that value is, we will not sell any more events. Tell me your thoughts on that.
Well, now with two majors, you have a Senior Women's U.S. Open that's going to be in July, and now you have the Senior LPGA Championship, which is in October. You ladies were the trailblazers of ladies professional golf, and if you look at where the LPGA is now, it couldn't be there now without the efforts that you guys, without the groundwork that you guys laid there. The LPGA, I feel, in my opinion, owes it to you guys to make this thing more successful. So my idea would be great. Maybe have two championships prior, or two tournaments prior to the Senior Women's U.S. Open, and two prior to the Senior LPGA Championship. Now we could go back to where the tournaments were before Springfield, Rochester, or name one of the many places that you guys played that golf was there prior. The ladies' golf was there prior, which is not there now. The Symetra Tour, maybe hook up with them and do tag along on a couple tournaments and try to have a senior event that's tied in with the Symetra Tour. But I think the bottom line is we need to get sponsorship money. We spend a lot of money on the Senior LPGA Championship, and we do it out of the benefit for the Riley kids. We do not make – this French Lick Resort does not make a dime by hosting the Senior LPGA Championship, to be quite honest with you. We're losing money on it.
I believe it.
But, yeah, and we made a commitment, and we're going to stick to our word, and we're going to do what we're going to do, and we're going to make this thing successful. I mean, I was talking to my wife the other day, and we're going over, goals for next year. And I looked at her and I gave her a wink. I said, think I just became an advocate for senior women's golf. And she goes, yes, you did. So my goal is to make this tour, to make it a tour, great, we have a standoff event, but what do we need to do to make our championship and the Senior Women's U.S. Open more successful? I mean, we have Fox as a broadcaster for the Senior Women's U.S. Open, and we have the Golf Channel for the Senior LPGA Championship. Now, are they going to dedicate themselves to broadcast a couple different play-in events? My guess is probably not, because it takes time and money. But can we do something like they did at the match last week? Can we do an internet broadcast of a regional championship? Let's say we can have the Florida Citrus Sports Championship at XYZ Golf Club in Orlando, Florida, as one of the play-in events. Make it a qualifier for either one of the two championships. Does it have to be on network TV? No, but could we do it on the internet for a tenth of the cost and maybe get as much eyeballs? If we look at the numbers that are generated from the Senior LPGA Championship, I think we averaged around 60,000 eyeballs a day, which is awesome. There's 60,000 people tuning on to the Golf Channel to watch the Senior LPGA Championship. Now, who's to say that there's 27,000 PGA members that have X amount of golf courses that in their pro shop this thing's on all the time. But there are certain unique people who are your fans, Cindy, that want to see you play, that can remember. It's sort of like, Field of Dreams, build it and they will come. And we can see over the years the amount of people that have made the pilgrimage to French Lick to watch you ladies play. And now we look at, we went from a weekend event to a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday event just to keep the cost down and have no competition on the Golf Channel. So if you look at those different scenarios, what do not only we need to do to make ourselves better, but what do the LPGA Legends players need to make themselves more successful? And something that you could take back to the table and say, hey, let's all get on the same page. Let's put our heads together. Let's go back to some of our old sponsors. Let's try to make this tour work. And hopefully, when our contract's up in 3 more years, we can say, yeah, we're committed. Let's keep on doing this. Or if there's somebody else who wants to take over the torch, feel free and run with it. So we're trying to build a foundation where, the girls that are playing now have a place to play in 5 and 10 years.
So how many years is the contract through?
Our deal, we had a 5-year deal. So we had 17, 18, 19 is next year, 20, 21. So after 21, we need to re-up.
Okay. So let me ask you this. How about if we were to partner with some kind of a corporation that, again, this is going to sound bad, but a menopause drug company, and they sponsor more than one event, the title sponsor of the tour?
I tell you, I've been knocking on doors of every man. I'm trying to beat down the door of the AARP right now as well. That'd be a great thing to do. And I'm 51. I know what menopause is like. Mm-hmm. It's right on the other side of the door. It's something that we have to do, and it's something that is there. And we look at the baby boomers. If you graduated high school in 1990, you're eligible to play on the Legends Tour. Think about that. That's insanity.
Yeah, that is.
Wow.
I mean, now we're bringing in the MTV generation. So It's not like, oh my God, you play golf in the 60s, you play golf in the 70s. It's like, no, I played golf in the 80s, I played golf in the 90s, and now it's either we're getting older or the runway is getting shorter. I'm not sure what to put it in there, but
I think Brendan,
the next generation is up.
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit of both, Brendan. Let me just add something just to the conversation here a little bit, and I know we got to let you go, but just something that you mentioned. You talked about the Golf Channel and different things like that, and sort of getting the word out there. Something that I've noticed here, and you and I, we had the pleasure of having Marilyn Smith, of course, one of the founders of the LPGA, on with us just a few short months ago. And, I'm sure if you polled the average person out there, they probably wouldn't know who she is. And I think one of the things, and I understand this obviously from a media perspective, that they're going to focus on what's happening on the tours today. But I think that one of the ways, Cindy, you said about how can we really draw attention is I think that we need to get not so much necessarily the founders, but some of the legend, the senior LPGA women more in the media eye, if you will, on a national scale, because something that was really kind of surprising to me, we've had the pleasure this year, Brendan, Cindy, and I of hosting some of the winners from the Symetra Tour throughout the season. And I asked a question on one of the shows, who was sort of your idol or sort of mentor growing up. And surprisingly enough, both the ladies that I asked gave the same answer, and it was Tiger Woods. They didn't even mention, Annika or, obviously Nancy Lopez. It was out of their generation. But, Annika was a little bit more, in line with their age group, if you will, or certainly would be the closest to their age group. And I found that very surprising, and it just goes to show you that I think we need to get the ladies more in the limelight, not just at the tournaments, but in other opportunities as well, because I think the more exposure they get, then the more interest that's going to take place with the companies. And the fact that we're really focusing on the newer, younger generations on tours, predominantly on media, is not giving or creating that opportunity. What do you think about that?
Well, I think if you had more interaction from some of the past superstars, you mentioned Annika, if she would play, I think she could definitely move the needle. Yeah. I think that if you look at, Tom, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. If you look at the sins of the father with the LPGA and the pension plan that Cindy and her peers don't have access to. To go out and have to, I know Cindy loves to teach, but to go out and make a career, you look at Gallagher Smith, she's a school teacher. You look at Elaine Crosby, she's a school teacher, and try to lift off a tour to make the senior LPGA women, want to make a career out of it. You can't do it making $1,500 a week or a month or whatever it may be. You need to have a career base. You need to have, what's it going to take? And you're looking at Julie Inkster, you're looking at Laura Davies, you're looking at Trish Johnson, you're looking at a handful of other ladies that are making, made millions of dollars in a career. And then you look at the ladies that played in the 70s and the 80s, early 80s, that with the purses were smaller. Maybe they made a couple $100,000 in earnings, and all that's gone. I mean, I don't know what the solution is. We're trying to come up with a couple different options where we can make this tour successful, lift it off the ground, and give these ladies a home and the ladies golf of the ladies from yesteryear. It really is a cool thing, and I wish that the people out there would just give more support, and if you know any sponsors out there, we'd be more than happy to help out with whatever it may be to lift it off the ground, and maybe finding a menopause drug, maybe finding an eyeglass company, maybe finding a vitamin company, a vacation club. There's a lot of different options out there, but it takes many hands to lift up a heavy load, and we're looking for some hands out there to help us as well.
Well, we're certainly going to do everything that we can on our end, Cindy and I, to keep promoting particularly women's golf and obviously giving respect and homage to the founders and many of the leaders in women's golf today that still are out there, like the Cindy Millers and the Annika Sorensen's and that, and we certainly are very blessed to have them in the golf community. Well, Brendan, we gotta let you go. Unfortunately,
just one more thing.
Sorry, go ahead. Sure.
With the people in the media, with the people in the media. I mean, my job is I'm a director of media, golf media relations for the French Lick Resort. So I deal with the media people all the time. we need to make this championship, all these championships, majors. They are majors. You have a Senior Women's U.S. Open, which is a major. You have the Senior LPGA Championship, which is a major, recognized by the LPGA and the USGA. Special exemptions after that. Laura Davies didn't get a Rolex for winning the Senior LPGA Championship. She didn't get any special exemptions. She didn't get any points to go, to get into the Hall of Fame. Maybe throw her half a point, throw her a quarter point, whatever. Give her something. Trish Johnson got a slap on the back. Hey, great. Julie Inkster. I mean, all these people, all these ladies, you talk about, we want to make this a major. Oh, great, it's a major. Well, what are you going to do about it? Give them some reward. Give the recognitions where it's due. And shame on some of the media. I'm not going to point out the magazines that won't even cover the damn thing. And we're beating the phones. We're beating the phones every day when we're up there. And we get a blog on their website.
Yeah.
You know what? In their 2018 year in review, put the damn ladies on the front cover. Period.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree. Yeah. Well said, Brandon. What a great way to end that segment. Brandon, just very quickly, for those that are interested, maybe coming to. Sorry, go ahead.
When this is over, I'll send you my resume. Okay.
No. Very quickly, Brendan, just let the folks know if they want to go and learn more about French Lick, maybe thinking about planning a trip, where can they go to learn more about it?
FrenchLick.com. We got great packages that start, starting now in January. We have a wonderful Christmas celebration going on all the way through the spring and all through next summer. It's a great place to be. If you're going to Kentucky Derby, we're about an hour away. And we're getting ready. We're starting another renovation to the property. We got another $17 million renovation or new expansion going in, so we're adding another 60 rooms to the hotel. So we're doing well. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys coming down. And Cindy, I'm so proud to be even associated with you guys. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to promote your brand.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Brendan, very much for joining us this morning on the Women of Golf Show, and maybe Cindy and I will partner together and come and do a show at French Lick maybe in the new year and help foster some of that the discussion that we've had here this morning. But we appreciate you coming on and joining us this morning here on the Women of Golf Show. Thanks for your time, Brendan.
Cheers. Have a great holiday. Thank you for your time.
You too. Bye-bye.
You too. All right. Bye-bye. All right, that was Brendan Sweeney, the Director of Golf Media Relations and Player Development up at French Lick Resort in Indiana. Obviously very passionate about getting things happening for the women on the Senior LPGA Tour particularly, but obviously women in general, and they're going to certainly do their part, and I think, Cindy, we've got to certainly continue to do our part as well. I know we've got to pressed a little bit for time. We let the segment go a little bit longer, but not a problem. It was a great discussion. Cindy, 2 weeks ago, we were going to, when we were back on air, we were going to talk about some golf tips, and I'm just going to throw a few out here. We'll have a brief discussion, and then I know we've got to wrap it up and continue on. We've got just 2 more shows left for the season. December 4th, we're going to be joined by Mark Codwell, PGA professional from San Antonio, Texas, and then on December 11th, which will be our final show, Jim Hardy is going to be coming back from U.S. Kids Golf, and we'll wrap it up for the season, and then we'll be back out in the new year. We'll give you the date at that time. But Cindy, some golf tips. These are just questions that I've been asked, and maybe some you've been asked over your career, and I just thought we'd just have a brief discussion on a couple of them here, since we don't have a lot of time left. And here's one of the questions that I've often been faced with, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Is going for the pin every time a smart play, or should I lay up sometimes? How do you decide that? So somebody's asked the question, do I go for it every time? Should I be laying up? And if so, how do I know when is the right time to do either one?
Well, the answer is no. Don't go for the pin all the time unless you want to shoot 1,000. I'm sure you agree with that.
Yes.
So what
right.
you have to do is you have to figure out, what is your level of ability or what's your skill level, and you have to really figure out what your options are. how far is it to carry the bunker if there's a bunker that's right in front of the pin? How much green is there between the bunker and the pin? How much green is after the pin? All that stuff. All those things have to be taken into consideration before you make your choice of, number one, what club are you going to use? Where are you going to aim this? What's your smartest play? So I guess, if you were out there trying to shoot 68, sometimes you do need to go for the pin. But other times it's really a silly mistake, and it may cause you doubles and triples. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make, obviously if you're playing a course that you don't play all the time, if it's not your normal club course that you play, and you're playing it particularly for the first time, unless you've got a situation where, all green lights are go, you really need to play smart. And as Cindy just pointed out, you want to look at the lay of the land. You want to see what obstacles are in your way, such as bunkers. Is there water maybe crossing over or around the green? And you want to look at where the pin's located. If the pin's in the back of the green, maybe back right, and you're a fader of the ball, you don't necessarily want to go for the pin, but you want to get somewhere that's going to give you the best opportunity. Worst case scenario, come out with a two-putt. If you start getting too aggressive at the pin, what ultimately ends up happening, Cindy, and you know this yourself, when you play sometimes a little bit more aggressively, you go for the pin, it's maybe not in the best spot, and next thing you know, you're over the green, you got to come back, and now you're facing, the possibility of launching it into a bunker, or you've got water hazards around that you might plunk it in. So a lot of factors have to be considered there. Is there an optimal time to go for the green? Again, once you've assessed and based on your level of play, again, if you're a good ball striker and you're pretty consistent, you can be a little bit more aggressive. If you're hitting it left, right, up, down, backwards and sideways 90% of the time, don't even think about it. And I think that's how you have to approach it, is you have to really look at the lay of the land. And Brennan really raised a very interesting point when he was talking about playing at French Lick, and that is you have to play more target golf. As opposed to just, swinging for the hills. And I think that's what you have to do, is you have to play to your game, you have to understand your game, and you have to pick the target and then commit to it. And if you're always trying to go for it, as you said, Cindy, you're going to be shooting in the thousands and you're never going to improve. That's my thought on that particular question, and I think we pretty much agree with that. Here's another one, Cindy, that I want to ask that a lot of people – you and I might understand this a little bit more, but people don't get this, and that is, how hard do I swing the club? So when I'm addressing the ball, and it doesn't matter what club I'm hitting, how hard do I swing it? What's sort of the rule of thumb? Is there, do I just swing until I fall out of my boots, so to speak, or is there a rationale, if you will, to swinging the club? What are your thoughts there, and then I'll give you mine.
Well, again, what's your mission? Are you trying to kill it? Because if you do try to kill it, you're going to fall over and kill yourself. But if you've ever played an instrument, or you sang in a choir, or you rock out to the radio while you're driving, tempo, timing, and rhythm are very, very important in the golf swing. So I tell my students it's like 1 and 2 and the and is the top of the backswing. 1 and 2 is hit, and is follow through. So 1 and 2 and. You need to swing in rhythm. Now, everyone's rhythm and pace will be different depending on their behavior style. So I'm a high D behavior style, and I'm very driven and a control freak. I'm more like Tiger Woods. I'm going to swing faster, so my overall pace is going to be faster, but my timing needs to be correct within the pace of that swing, if that makes sense. My husband, Alan, is like Ernie Els or Jason Duffner. He does everything slower. So I would say he has a syrupy, smooth swing, but he has club head speed. So Alan will tell students, swing your arms slow, but the club face fast. So allow the wrist to go so that you have some club head speed. Oh, I don't say hard. I say slow arms, fast hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think what I try to do with players, especially beginning players that really don't understand yet, how hard, because they get up there and they just, like I said, swing for the hills and they're falling all over the place. The rule of thumb, or the means test, if you will, that I apply is if you can swing within balance and maintain your balance, then you're okay. If you start falling back or falling forward or tilting one way or the other in your swing, then you're probably swinging harder than you should. So what I like to do with newer players is I like them to start out real slow and then gradually build up, again, keeping in rhythm as you suggested, but gradually build up until they get to a comfortable point where they're no longer or they're able to maintain their balance. Once they start losing their balance, then more than likely they're swinging faster than their body will allow them to. And again, because we are all different, as you point out, Cindy, you've got a little bit faster cadence, so you can swing a little bit faster and still maintain your balance. If Alan was to try that based on his cadence or his rhythm, then he would probably fall all over the place and not certainly be able to do it in a comfortable fashion. So my rule of thumb, Cindy, is I suggest that you swing and within balance, and as long as you're able to maintain that balance, then you can swing a little bit faster. Once you start to lose that balance, then you need to slow it down a little bit. And that's generally the rule of thumb that I go by. One more question here, and then Cindy will wrap up. Another one, too, that a lot of people ask, and this goes to the setup of the golf swing. And I know people can argue either way. But people, we see this all the time, that they get lined up their feet, their hips, and everything, but for some reason their shoulders are either well open or even closed to their intended target line. So the question that was posed to me was, does shoulder alignment affect my golf shot, and if so, how? And in conjunction to that, is shoulder alignment important? Does it really matter? What are your thoughts there?
Say that again.
Okay. Does the shoulder alignment, so in other words, if I'm aligned everything parallel to my target, but my shoulders are maybe closed to the target, my target line with the rest of my body, or open, is that going to affect my shot? And if so, how? Or does it matter where my shoulders align, as long as my feet and my hips and...
So I would say that you definitely want to aim your shoulders parallel to the left of the target.
Right.
You don't want your shoulders pointing at the target. And then what I would say to you is, if your shoulders are real open and you swing on your shoulder line, you're probably going to yank it.
Yep.
So again, that's a little too much thinking for me. I would never try to aim my shoulders at the target, because you're going to be parallel to the right. So always aim the face at the target and let your shoulders be wherever, and you want to be able to swing the club head down the target line. And if you're able to do that, then you just should hit it dead straight.
Right. Well, and I agree with that. I think one of the things that people have to understand, there is a little room, and when I say a little room of flexibility with your shoulders, they can be very slightly closed or even very slightly opened. One of the dangers that a lot of golfers, and I'm going to start with the closed one very quickly here first. If your shoulders are quite closed to your intended target, and that doesn't mean that you want them parallel or you want them right on your target line, as you suggested, you need to be left of that target if for right-handed golfers, and the opposite, obviously, for left-handed golfers. One of the problems that I see, Cindy, is if I'm standing and everything else is aligned parallel left of my target, but my shoulders are quite closed, what ultimately happens is on the backswing, people snatch that club inside. And in order not to lose balance, in order to get back on target, they throw their shoulders, their right shoulder over, and we get that over-the-top move, and then they cut across the ball. And depending on where or how their club face is aligned at impact is going to obviously dictate where the shot is going to go. So what ultimately happens is if your shoulders are too far open or closed based on where you should be aiming them, ultimately what's going to happen is it's going to affect how you swing the club. So you got to be careful what. So the answer ultimately is yes, it does matter, but there is a slight room for flexibility. Again, as you suggested, if they're slightly open, that's okay. Or even if they're slightly closed a little bit, that's okay too. But when you start getting where, they're 25, 30 degrees closed or open in opposite to your the rest of your body's alignment, you're going to run into some problems there. So those are some things I think personally. Do you agree with that or disagree or want to modify that in any way?
Totally agree.
Okay, perfect. And, we'll talk about more of these. There's some other tips that we'll get into the next time. We've got a couple shows I mentioned very quickly, and then I know we've got to end up. As I said, December 4th, Mark Caldwell from San Antonio, PGA Professional, is going to be joining us. And on December 11th is going to be our last show of the 2018 season. Jim Hardy from U.S. Kids Golf is going to be joining Cindy and I. And we'll throw some of these questions, some other questions here on those shows as well as we wind out the season. And on the 11th, we'll announce the date that we'll be coming back on air in 2019. It's probably going to be after a few weeks, give us a break for Christmas and get things lined up again for next season. But on that note, we want to thank again our very special guest this morning, Brendan Sweeney, as well for joining us from French Lick. Doing a great job up there. And we want to thank all of you for faithfully tuning in each and every week here on the Women of Golf Show. Again, we'll be back here for a couple more weeks, and then we'll be taking a short break for the holidays. Visit the Facebook page, Women of Golf. Check it out. Make sure you like the page while you're there. And any questions or comments, by all means, feel free to post on there. On behalf of Cindy Miller and I'm Ted Odorico. Thank you very much for joining us this morning on the Women of Golf Show. God bless. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week on the Women of Golf. Thanks, Cindy.
Thanks, Ted. Bye-bye.
Bye.